Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Answering the Call. I'm Pastor Chuck Reese, your show host and executive producer. This is a series all about evangelism and discipleship. We're highlighting ministries that are serious about doing just that. Our next story comes from Minneapolis, Minnesota. We're visiting Bethany International, and with me, the president, Dan Brocky. Dan, thank you so much for spending some time with our viewers.
Good to be with you.
So, what's the vision? What's the mission? What's the heartbeat?
Very simply, it's to take the church to where it is not. It's to go to those places where the gospel just has never gone.
Right.
And in the world today, there are like 17,000 people groups, ethno-linguistic people groups, different languages, different places of the world, different skin color, everything else. But there are probably 7,000 that are considered unreached, where there's very little presence of the gospel ever has gone to them. And so for us, we're focused on those people.
And you have a school here as well. You're training up missionaries to learn how to cross those cultures. And
Right. Since 1948, actually, we began training workers right from the beginning.
Right.
The initial vision was to train, send, and support 100 missionaries. Probably over the years, 1,000 have gone out.
Praise God.
And today we have Bethany Global University, and we train workers. Our school is, the students are on campus for a couple years, then they do their 2 years overseas. So they're learning and growing while they're serving in missions.
Yeah, that's good. And discipleship, like you said, teaching them to obey their biblical principles, their truths that apply to mankind everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, so making disciple makers really is what you're doing. And scholarships for students, is that a
Scholarships
big deal?
for students is no student pays tuition here, so they don't have to worry about that.
Wow,
And
what a
so
blessing.
we just are committed. You don't want missionaries in preparation to be carrying debt.
Right.
So that's a huge piece.
How can Christians get involved with a ministry like Bethany International?
Well, obviously to pray with us is always to pray for the lost, to pray for the edges of the kingdom, to pray for people groups that have never heard the gospel. Obviously they can also get involved by giving and donating and supporting ministry. I mean, every year we're working with partners all over the world to train and equip them to go to these very tough places.
Right.
And so they can get involved by going to BethanyInternational.org and go to donate, and they can get involved that way financially.
Yeah, that's good. Keep watching. We got some more interviews coming from some of the folks that have partnered with Bethany International, so you too can answer the call and co-labor with the ministry at such a time as this. Keep watching.
The heartbeat of Bethany International and the heartbeat of the university are one and the same. Let's take the church to where it's not, help others do the same. And that heartbeat drives everything we're thinking about every day. How are we involved both in the student body and in the ministry?
And so we're working then to be able to be sure our people are in the places where they can be accessed in unreached people groups, those people that have not yet really had the gospel.
All of our staff and students know what our mission statement is, to take the church to where it's not and help others do the same. But there's something even deeper than that, and that's our heart and our desire to see the gospel raised up among healthy churches in unreached people groups across the globe.
My heart at Student Life is that we are discipling our students. I love sitting in my office with students and seeing the light bulb moment and working through those roots that are keeping them back so that they get to go and make disciples.
And in Bethany's commitment to evangelism and discipleship and reaching the world, all peoples, with the gospel, it has been that commitment to meet people where they are, make sure that you listen well, hear their questions, and behind that question is the questioner, a person who needs to know that they are loved unconditionally by God and by us as we deliver the message.
Yeah, we are really in a focus right now of being sure that all of our workers, all of our students, all of the process that is coming through understands that the tip of the spear for us is the making of disciples.
Bethany International, Bethany Global University, our whole heartbeat is evangelism. Our whole heartbeat is to share the gospel with those who have never heard before. So in all kinds of realms of obviously on the field, our long-term missionaries, as well as our interns getting an opportunity to learn language, learn culture, build relationships even with their language tutor, and be invited into those families to then share the gospel.
Well, the mission is pretty clear. You've probably heard it already, to take the church. And I sort of want to make sure that we don't take buildings to where they're not. We take the people of God, the people that are really called to leadership in evangelism and discipleship. So we're ultimately taking the gospel to where it is not and help others to do the same.
To get involved with Bethany International, there's so many different opportunities. Clearly, we need prayer support. Our student missionaries, our long-term missionaries are serving in some very diverse places around the world. And in the day and age that we live in, there's always need for prayer covering.
Well, at Bethany, our focus is on the unreached, and our heart's desire is to allow people to come in and participate in what God is doing in some of the most amazing places in the world. And so the way that you can become involved, of course, is praying for unreached people groups, that the gospel would go forth. And also, if you have a heart for supporting near culture missionaries or our own Western missionaries who go out, then you can become involved financially as well in helping us to take the gospel to the nations.